Good evening, guys. So once again, I am attempting my live Q&A that I do around Christmas time each year. You may know that I tried to do this last week and I had problems with the connection, so it was a bit of an epic fail. Speaking of epic fail, the lighting's a bit iffy, isn't it? The lighting's not.
Do you want to go and turn it up a bit?
Oh, well, are the lights not set to the brightest?
No.
That would explain that one. That's a bit better. We are missing a light here because it's gone out and I'm yet to replace it. Anyway, I hope you all had a lovely Christmas. I certainly did. It's always good to catch up with family. I think Christmas nowadays, well, for many years, has been hyped up so much, and it's very commercial. But for me, family is all about spending time with family. So attempting the Q&A once more. So guys, if you have any questions, please fire them in. I will keep an eye on the live chat to the right hand side of my screen. I hope you all had a great Christmas, and I hope you are looking forward to New Year's Eve, although let's face it, quite often New Year's Eve can be a little bit not anticlimax, but it can be overhyped, can't it? Much like Christmas. I haven't got any plans. I've not got any big plans. I've got to go around and see family and have a nice quiet one in, because I don't tend to go out at New Year's Eve because it's just a fortune. You go out and a pub would a pub normally puts their fees up to double price or triple price just because they can. I don't agree with it. Anyway, please feel free to fire your questions in. I'll answer them as quickly as I can and to the best of my abilities. So hopefully I get a good number of people watching tonight, because this was announced at quite short notice, because a part of me thought, is it worth trying to do it again, or should I just leave it? And I thought, no, let me try and do it again, because I want to try and connect with you guys, really. You may hear a bit of thudding in the background. Patsy is playing with one of our cats. She's a bit hype at the moment. So is the cat. Did she catch you with one of her claws?
She landed all 4 paws on my hand.
Best wishes for 2020. Thank you. Same to you. So as I mentioned in my last Q&A, that's a little bit much, darling. Oh,
it's not my fault she's big.
As I mentioned in my last live Q&A, although I think potentially by that point that's when the live stream had actually finished. But anyway, I digress. I do want to change the dynamic of car obsession for 2020. I don't exactly know how, but I do want to take the channel in a different kind of direction. I'm not too sure how, but I'm sure I'll work it out in time. I will be doing less car reviews. I know it may be a bit of a disappointment to some of you watching, and that's purely because I just don't have as much time as I used to. And it's great reviewing cars. I love it, don't get me wrong, but a lot of work goes into it. I was speaking to Ricky from Living Life Fast, and he said to me, I don't know how you do it, because a lot of time goes into researching the car, filming with the car, editing the car. When Living Life Fast, when he does goes out on a shoot, he can he said that he can shoot up to 3 cars on one day. Obviously not cars from manufacturers. If you don't know Living Life Fast, I'd be very surprised, but he basically reviews and films with owners' cars. So for him to do 3 cars in one day is madness, and that wouldn't even take him all day, whereas I could spend pretty much a whole day filming just on one car, and then it doesn't include the time to research it and to edit the video. So it is very time consuming. But just reading a message from Wild and Frantic. I will come back to you in a few moments, my friend. I will be doing less car reviews next year, because it is a lot of work. I don't always have the time I want to dedicate to doing the videos properly. Well, not properly, to the standard that I'd want to, because I am a person that's quite hard on myself, and I do put a lot of pressure on myself. That's just how I am. And the other reason why I want to do less car reviews is because I want to go to more events. Now, because I work full time, I have to do all of my filming at the weekend. And obviously, when you get into show season, you have a different show every weekend. This year, I barely went to any shows because I was always filming with the car. And the other reason why I want to do less car reviews is because I want to drive my own cars more. I've got 3 cars, and there's been some points this year where I've not had a chance to drive them, and it's crazy. I'm paying out insurance and tax for something that's just parked by the side of the road or parked in the garage. It makes no sense. So yeah, that's my reasoning. Don't get me wrong, there will still be car reviews on the channel, but I'd say there'll probably be like 2 a month. So normally I would have like four cars a month to review. But now I'm going to cut that down to 2 and then see how I get on. So anyway, going back to Wild and Frantic, Kia Stonic, like the look and warranty, but a good second-hand buy. Best wishes for 2020. Is that a question, my friend? Are you? One of the other cats has just poked her head. Oh, she's run off. Kia Stonic, yeah, it's a good car. I thought it was a good car, but not quite as good as it could be, if that makes sense. But I am actually, speaking of Kias and small SUVs, next month, or is it February, I am reviewing the brand new Kia Exceed. No, it's next month actually. It's my first car to review of 2020, so I'll be getting that delivered around mid-January. So look out for that. And of course, Kia, they do their 7-year warranties, which is very competitive, and it gives you peace of mind as well. So yeah, I would say it's a good second-hand buy. Yes. I guess you can do what Angry Joe did, rapid fire reviews, where he does a faster, easier to edit review of certain games, cars in your case. Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want to compromise my my content. I don't want to make faster videos just for the sake of making my life easier.
He is a good YouTuber. His videos.
Angry Joe, I've not heard of him.
He's one of the only kind of gaming YouTubers I actually watch. But I know the videos he's referring to, and they are still very informative. They have all the core information in, so it may be worth having a look at some of him and just seeing if you can pick up some ideas from him. But he's really good. Yeah,
but by all means, I'm happy to consider things, but yeah, I like my, as I'm sure you're
very precise. You like.
I'd say I'm thorough.
That's the word.
So yeah, as much as I'm open to ideas, I like my reviews to be quite thorough, which is why they're quite long videos. And I suppose some people would argue my videos are too long. Well, at the end of the day, if people want to watch my videos, great. If they don't, then that's up to them, isn't it? So yeah, I suppose I could make shorter videos, faster videos, but I don't want to. It's because I'm really kind of cliche and really kind of can't think of the word. Really pompous, but I don't want to compromise my vision. That may sound really la-di-da and a bit but hopefully you get what I mean. But I really do appreciate the suggestion, and it is one I will take on board. So I will take a look at his content and see if there's anything I can learn from what he's doing. And that's the great thing about YouTube. It's such a big community. It's a great place to get inspiration or ideas. Or sometimes you can, on the other side of the coin, sometimes you can look at a YouTuber and think, okay, they're doing that wrong, and then try and learn from it. Then that sort of thing. Yeah, they have excellent quality. I'm surprised to know that your wife watches his content. The length is just about right to my taste. Thank you. That's good feedback. I think back in the day when I first started Car Obsession, from memory, I think my videos were like about 10 minutes long. I tried to make them about 10 minutes, whereas now some of my reviews can be around 20 minutes. And yeah, that is quite a long time. But like I said, they're thorough. And, I like my videos to pack as much information in them as possible. So if you are looking to buy a car, I'd like to think that if you were to watch one of my videos, you can take away a lot of information, and that could well be enough to make you decide whether or not to buy the car. And I have had some people say to me, "Oh, Aaron, I really enjoyed your video. I watched your video, and on the back of it, I bought the car." And that's great to hear. It's really good to hear that I'm actually able to help people make a considered car purchase, because that wasn't really my primary reason for starting the channel. I just wanted to share my passion with like-minded people. But if I can help people choose the right car for them, then that's an added bonus. So yeah, it is good. Another comment. I know you reviewed the Seat Leon a while ago. However, that was the 1.4 TSI engine. Do you have any more intel on the kangaroo issue Volkswagen/Seat has with the new 1.5 TSI 150 horsepower engine? I have heard about that issue, and I have driven the 1.5 TSI, and I never had the issue, but I have heard that is a kind of a common trait with that engine. But I've driven one or two vehicles using that engine. I've never had an issue, so I can't really comment on that one, I'm afraid. Yes, I understand what you mean perfectly. I would consider the same thing. So yeah, I do appreciate that. Let's see. Going back to Wild and Frantic, I have actually reviewed the Kia Stonic, so please feel free to go and watch that review. That was quite some time ago, so I can't remember exactly what I said about it, but I think I had I think my kind of overall view on it was that it had the potential. Kia, they were so close to making a really good car. I just think they didn't quite do it, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion, of course. I'm sure there's some people that absolutely love the Stonic. It's not a bad car, don't get me wrong. But if it were between that or, let's say, a Seat Arona, I'd have the Seat Arona. I think that's a fantastic car, and dare I say, the best small SUV you can buy. It's definitely up there, in my opinion. Good but flawed in some aspects. Yeah. That's yeah. I think that was my kind of overall view of the Stonic, was that it was good but also flawed in some areas. Can't remember exactly what those areas were, but I think, did I complain about the boot space? I can't remember. It's so long ago. Ever thought about head-to-head reviews? Yes, that's something I'd love to do. But if you do a head-to-head review, you're going to need more than one car. That means more than one driver. So it's not really viable. Well, not necessarily more than one driver, but let's say I wanted to review 3 similar cars by myself. Obviously, I then have the logistic nightmare of getting those 3 cars to my filming location. How do I do that? It's tricky. I'd love to do that. I think that's where I'd like to do more collaborations in 2020. But the problem I find with collaborations is sometimes trying to get your diary to match with another YouTuber or a like-minded creative person can be quite difficult. So, to be honest, I don't actively go out looking for collaborations. However, if someone approaches me for a collaboration, that's a different story. I'm more than happy to try and work with someone. But to be honest, I don't actively seek out collaborations, because this is going to sound really mean, but sometimes it's more hassle than it's worth. So yeah, I let collaborations come to me. That sounds awfully arrogant. It's not meant to sound arrogant. It's just a case of I've got so much to do with so little time. I don't really like chasing after people, and sometimes that's what it can feel like. Let's see. Comment from the Lynx Lizard. Well, question, I should say. What do you think of the Irish government banning the sales of all diesel and petrol cars by 2030? See, I'd say that's a drastic move, but I think in the UK, I think it's 2040 that the UK will supposedly will stop the sale of a new petrol or diesel cars. I don't think that includes hybrids. So I think the car would need to have some kind of electrification. But yeah, it's crazy. If you didn't think about it, 2030, that's not that long away. You may think, well, it's like a decade away. But think about how quickly time moves. 2030 will be here before you know it. The thing is, governments are so pro-green, aren't they? And I can understand why. Want to protect the planet and so forth. But But yeah, it'll be a sad day when you can't buy a proper petrol or diesel car. But times move on. You've got so many electric cars being bought now in Britain. I think the SMMT, which is the Society for Manufacturers and Motor Traders, they did a kind of little demographic, little graph a few months ago, just highlighting just how much of a surge there's been. Get it? Electric surge, never mind. Just how much of a surge there has been in the UK of people buying electric cars. And I suppose on one hand that's great, but on the other hand it's not, because as it stands, the rate of which electric cars are being bought in the UK, the infrastructure, the charging networks simply can't keep up with it. And it makes me laugh when electric car owners say, "Oh, Wes, did you know there's more charging points in the UK than petrol stations?" Well, yeah, that may be true, but it doesn't mean they're all convenient or they're all fast chargers. If you've got a charger that's 7 kilowatts or something, that's going to take a long time to charge your car. Now, granted, if you go to work and you can charge the car whilst you're at work and you have a charging point there, great. Or on the same notion, if you have a charging point at home, I don't mean a 3-pin socket. I mean a proper charging point. You could charge it overnight. Again, great. But when I've had electric cars, and to be honest, they have been inconvenient. Now, I will fully admit that an electric car doesn't suit my lifestyle, because I live in a property where I can't charge the car here and I can't charge it at my place of work. So for me, yeah, an electric car doesn't fit into my life. And I'll give you a great example. I had a Nissan Leaf towards the start of this year, and I took it up to Caffeine and Machine, which you may know is in Stratford-upon-Avon. Fantastic venue. If you've not been, I would thoroughly recommend it. So I went from where I used to live in South London, to Bracknell to pick up fellow YouTuber Driving with Nico. I'm really sorry, I almost forgot the name of his channel. Oh, that's embarrassing. And then we went from Bracknell up to Stratford-upon-Avon. And I just about had enough range to get there. And what was scary, so I got there with about, I think it was 5 or 6% battery. What was scary is that in the area, there was only one charging point, which was at a nearby hotel. Now, what if that charging point wasn't working, or if it was out of service, or I got there and someone else was using it? What would happen? I didn't have enough range to go somewhere else. So I could have easily have been stuck. Now, conversely, I know some people may not favour this opinion, but if I had a petrol car or a diesel car, okay, I will include a hybrid into that argument. I'm pretty sure that I would have had a stronger choice of petrol stations in the area than charging points. So it's all good and well people saying, "Oh, there's more charging points than petrol stations," and it might be the case, but think about it. So, some of those charging points, I would have a very strong idea that within that number of electric charging points in the UK, I bet that includes ones that are privately owned or ones in private grounds that you can't get to. So I would say that stat is probably a bit skewed. Anyway, electric cars will always have a strong debate on them. So let's move things on a little bit, because I don't want to concentrate too much on electric cars. Yeah, okay. The aroused eunuch has commented with, same as running out of gasoline in the car, you'd have to call a tow truck. Yeah, but come on, let's face it. If you're low on petrol, I would argue you're more likely to be closer to a petrol station than you are if you're in an electric car and you're running out of charge and need a charging point. Also, in a petrol or diesel car, if you do run low and you find a petrol station, filling up takes about 5 or 10 minutes. Charging an electric car can take up to 40 minutes or longer. So, yeah, as you can probably tell, I'm not sold on electric cars. And I think Don't get me wrong, the ranges are improving. So some of the electric SUVs can do a few hundred miles, which is great. But I just think Britain is not ready at this point to solely depend on electric cars. That's I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to get too bogged down in an electric car debate, as it were, because you do have some strong opinions flying about, and it's a debate that could last until the end of time or until fossil fuels run out. Maybe a hybrid for me, but definitely no to fully electric. I'm also a motorcyclist, so electric bike. No thanks. So don't get me wrong. I think electric cars they can fit themselves into some people's lives really easily, but for me, it just wouldn't make sense. The aroused eunuch has responded, excellent point. I'm not sold on electric cars either, especially given the cost of replacement batteries. However, I'd like to point out that the charger infrastructure will grow. Yeah, it will grow, and I have no doubts about that. It has to, really, doesn't it? Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of people in Britain with electric cars and nowhere to charge them. Let's see. What about a private charging point where you are living in a city? I won't be able to install a charger in the parking down my building. The community will never agree on that. That's a funny one, because some new flats, they are. I've seen that they do get a charging point kind of implemented, kind of a communal one. But yeah, let's say you live in an area where you want to install your own charging point, but you can't. What are you going to do then? But yeah, like I say, we could speak about electric cars until the cows come home, frankly. Wild and Frantic has asked another question. Aaron, what's your day job? Is it completely different from the car side of things? No, it isn't, actually. So I used to work in private healthcare, but I now work for a local car repair garage called Cedar Garage, and I do the customer service side of things there. So yeah, it's been... The job has been a steep learning curve. It hasn't always been enjoyable, because sometimes it can be quite stressful. And I'm the kind of person that, as I said earlier, I put a lot of pressure on myself. And normally, when I start a new job, I can pick things up really quickly. But in this new job, it's taken me a lot longer to learn things, because there's so much to learn for the role. But yeah, it's good to have a job that revolves around cars. Something I can kind of put my passion into, as it were, because my last job, I worked for a private healthcare company. I was there for 6 years, and yeah, it was a means to an end. It paid the bills, and that was about it. It wasn't really a job I could say I had any strong passion towards. Don't get me wrong. I come from a customer service background, so I've always had a passion for that, but not the same kind of passion I have for cars, as I'm sure you can appreciate and understand. But I've been at my current job for about almost 3 months now, so I'm still quite new to the role. So yeah, I'm sure I will, with more experience, the job will come more easily to me. But yeah, it was good discussion, guys. I really liked your questions, actually. I must admit, I was quite concerned and a bit worried that I'd come on tonight and I'd be sat here talking to myself. So,
me.
Yeah, I know, but
Not the cats.
you can't keep asking me questions all the time, can you? But yeah, no, so it's been a good debate. So yeah, I do appreciate your input, guys. It's greatly appreciated, and that's why I love doing these live Q&As, because it helps me connect with you guys, and it helps, in my opinion, it helps you guys get involved with the channels, and I really appreciate that. I want it to feel like this is, it's going to sound a bit corny, but I want this to feel like it's as much your channel as it is mine. If that makes sense. So it's really good to get you guys involved. So I do appreciate you taking time out of your evening to join me and converse with me. So it is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Delta Dandy states your channel is coming along nicely. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Again, I do appreciate that. I must admit, the last quarter of this year, I have felt a little bit disheartened, because for whatever reason, the channel has slowed down in regard to views. I can't put my finger on it, so I'm just checking the football score. Liverpool are playing against Wolves. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. You know, YouTube's a funny one. The algorithms and so forth, they keep changing. But for the last 3 months of this year, the channel has just kind of sloped off a little bit. It's kind of plateaued, and yeah, that has been a little bit disheartening, I must admit. But the channel is coming along nicely. But yeah, I do want to do different things next year. I've always had these, you know, kind of rather ambitious ideas in my head, but oh, pardon me, sorry, but it can be difficult to execute them because of, well, money. Money's always a big factor. It's funny because people assume that because you do YouTube that you earn lots of money. You don't, unless you're a big YouTuber like, let's say, Smee150 or PewDiePie, and you know someone of my standing simply earns practically nothing from YouTube. So I remember 1 or 2 years back, I had a guy criticizing one of my videos. I think it was my Kia Rio review, or was it a Ford? I can't remember, but either way, he was like, "Oh well, I know why you do YouTube. It's easy money." Good one, mate. Yeah, YouTube, easy money. No, it is not. Now, a lot of people, I believe, would assume that a lot of money from YouTube comes from the ad revenue. It doesn't. You know, the big YouTubers like Smee150, Mr. JWW, you know, so forth. You know, yes, they probably do get a decent amount of money from ad revenue. But you know, let's take Smee150 as an example. Just think about the fleet of cars that he owns. Do you really think he could afford to run them just on YouTube money alone?
Oh, you're about my favourite person.
Oh, Patsy loves Smee150, don't you?
Yeah.
He's your favourite YouTuber, isn't he?
Like a dagger through the heart.
Well,
yeah, of course, after you.
But where was I? But yeah, no, a lot of the money that comes from YouTube comes from brand deals and things like that. So it's not just ad revenue. Anyway, again, that's another topic I could speak about for a long time. And I'm sure many of you aren't that interested. So let's move things on. How do you get all the cars you are reviewing? Companies are offering them, or do you rent them? No, I actually steal them. Of course I don't. I'm joking. I bet there's someone at home going, does he? No, so I basically, so companies don't approach me. They may do it at some point when I'm more successful and I've been able to grow the brand. Wild and Frantic is going. Thank you for joining me, mate. So I wish you a very happy new year. So thank you for tuning in. Much appreciated. Anyway, yeah, so I get my cars directly from the car manufacturer's press office. So a lot of people, and I can understand why, because I assumed the same thing when I first started, is that you get the cars from your local dealership. No, that doesn't happen. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some YouTubers that do work with their local dealerships, but I tried that, and all of them just didn't want to help me. Some didn't want to, some couldn't. So yeah, so the cars I get come directly from the manufacturer's press office. They get delivered to me with a full tank, or there is one brand that deliver it with 3/4. Don't know why. And then I have it for a week, and then it gets collected from me and taken back to their depot, wherever that may be. So yeah, it's a very difficult thing to get into, and I do get asked on quite a regular basis how I get access to cars, and it is very difficult to start off with. And to be honest, it is a vicious circle, because you approach a manufacturer. Hello, generic car brand. I want to review your generic car. Can I have one of these for a week? Okay, what are your viewing numbers? Oh, I don't have any. I've just started. I need a car to review. Oh, we can't give you a car because you've got no viewing figures. Yeah, but I need a car to get some viewing figures. Can you see where it becomes difficult? Because you want a car, but they won't give you a car because you haven't built an audience yet. But you haven't built an audience because you haven't got cars to review. So it is a bit of a catch-22. Now, if you're wondering why car manufacturers are so
precious.
Precious isn't the right word, but I'm going to use that word because I can't think of a better one. But if you wonder why, they are kind of that precious about their fleet is because, on average, it depends on the car brand, but on average, for a car brand to send a car out to someone, it costs them around £1,000. And you may think, well, that's a lot of money. It is. The reason for that is because the insurance gets paid for. So although I'm fully comp, and I actually think I may have traders insurance because I'm on my works insurance. So technically, I think I'm insured. Anyway, that's another story. So although I'm fully comp, each car that gets delivered to me comes with its own insurance. It comes with, as I mentioned, a full tank of petrol, and the car has to be there. They have to pay for the car to be delivered and collected from.
And it's all validated.
Yeah.
Validated.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why. So for example, let's say, for argument's sake, Ford sent me out a Focus, costs them around £1,000. Let's say only 100 people watch my review. From their point of view, what's their return of investment? So that's why car manufacturers they're very, very particular about their numbers, because they want to see, they want to make sure that it's going to be worth it for them, which I completely understand. So just reading the comments, maybe it's an issue of spreading the word out or something. Yeah, potentially. Speaking of the Focus, I didn't even see your comment, but I mentioned the Ford Focus. How weird is that? Do you think Ford have done enough to the Focus to keep it ahead of the all-new VW Golf? To be honest with you, because I've been so busy, I've not really given any kind of attention to the new Golf, so I can't really answer that question. But I think the new Focus is a really good car, and yeah, I think the Golf will have its work cut out with the new Focus. But let's face it, the Golf is such a staple in the car world that even if the new Golf is average, you can guarantee it will still sell like anything because it's a Golf. So I can't really answer that question too much. But yeah, I do like the Ford Focus, and I'm quite a fan of Ford. I'm not afraid to admit it, but it's not to say I'm biased. If I think a Ford isn't any good, I'll be honest. For example, the Ford EcoSport, I didn't think that much of that car. I think I just thought it was a bit crap, to be honest. If I'm going to be really blunt. And the Ford Ka Plus Active, that to me is just a pointless car. Don't know. So yeah, as much as I love Ford, it doesn't mean I can't be subjective and objective about them. So not every car they make is brilliant. Like any car brand, they can make some not so good cars. Oh, that's my phone going off. I am intrigued by the new Mustang E, whatever it's called. That kind of confuses me because, okay, I get it. Ford have built an electric SUV, but why give it the Mustang name? I just don't get it personally. I also don't get the fact why their other small SUV, the Puma. I don't understand why Ford have called it the Puma, because when Ford announced, "Oh, we're bringing out a brand new Puma," I'm sure, like me, a lot of you were like, "Oh, they're going to bring out another small sporty coupe," and then you see this SUV roll out, you think, "Oh, okay, why?" I don't object. I've got no objections about the car. That's it, the Mustang Mach-E. Yeah, thank you. I've got no objection about the car, but I just don't understand why Ford have brought back the Puma name for it. Maybe that's just me. Let's see. Delta Dandy has asked another question. Which YouTuber would you most like to collaborate with? Oh, now that's a good question. That is a good question. I like that. That's a really tricky one because I've got quite a few names coming to my head. I'd love to collaborate with Calvin's Car Diary. He's a great bloke. We've crossed paths a few times, so I'd love to collaborate with him. I like his videos. I like the way he does his videos, and they've got a good amount of humour in them. I can tell that he spends a lot of time putting the edits together, and he's a real grafter. So I really appreciate his work. Living Life Fast, again, fantastic content. I would love to do a video with him. But if I'm thinking like really big, then I'd love to do a collaboration with Car Throttle. I've really enjoyed their content throughout this year. Well, all the time I've been watching their stuff, and yeah, you know, Alex, Ethan, and Jack. They just seem like such great guys, such good banter, and I think they could easily have their own TV show. So yeah, I think the stuff they do is fantastic. I can't wait to see what they do moving into 2020. Totally agree. Puma Mustang silliness. It is silliness, isn't it? Like I said, I don't object to the cars. Just give them different names. I don't get it. It's because the Mustang and Puma names are well known for sporting driving experiences. Thus, they're trying to sell those SUVs as sporty vehicles. That's a very good point. I like that opinion, that point of view, because it is, yeah, you're dead right, and it's all about marketing. So yeah, that makes sense what you said, but do I agree with it? No, but yeah, now you've said that does make valid sense. So good point, sir. Also, copyright / patents for new names cost a lot of money. Car companies recycle names when they can. Again, another good point. You've injected a good amount of logic into my argument. So for that, I thank you. Although you have kind of completely debunked my point, but no, I mean it's a joke, and you do make a good point. But yeah, it's just annoying, really, isn't it? It's just car manufacturers trying to sell you something that it isn't. You know, I've not driven either car. I'm sure they're both going to be good cars. I would quite like to get my hands on the new Puma and the Mustang Mach-E, to be honest, because I think both cars, particularly the Mustang, they do intrigue me. It would be quite good to see what they are like. Actually, speaking of Ford, have I got any Fords coming in the future? Don't think I have. I've still got my Ford Ranger Raptor content to do. That's going to be, well, I was hoping to get that done by the end of this year, but I have churned out a lot of videos this month, but I've not quite caught up to clear my backlog. So yeah, you'll have the Ranger Raptor review. I may do, depending on how much content I have the review, I may either include my off-road footage into that video or make a dedicated video just to the off-roading. So I have to see how that pans out. And it will be a Patsy Rates Cars episode with that. Did we do a Patsy Rates Cars video?
What?
The Ranger. We did, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
Yes, because we filmed it on our way to somewhere. I can't remember where we went. But yeah.
Great memory.
I know, tell me about it. You're welcome. From a car guy's perspective, I agree that's annoying. I'd love to see a new Puma, and in brackets, not an SUV. Yeah, I'd love to see a new Puma, because
They need to make a new racing one.
Yeah, because
not this monstrosity that they've now called Puma.
Yeah, the Fiesta has been such a successful car for Ford. I think to make another Puma would make sense. Would it sell to the amount that Ford would want it to make it viable? No, it probably wouldn't, but it would be good to see. But obviously, nowadays, car manufacturers have always been quite keen to try and look after the margins and the profits. It's not often that you'll see a car brand make a car at a loss. For example, the Honda Integra Type R, when Honda made that, each car they made, they lost money on. It's not often car manufacturers do that. I think was it the Mark I Focus RS, Ford Focus RS? I think I read somewhere that each car they made, they lost about £4,000 on it.
Probably because it was. Yeah.
But I know for a fact that Ford lost money on each Mark I Focus RS it made. Let's see. Oh, some more questions. The new Seat Leon is going to be announced soon. Can we expect a review of that car from you as well in the future? I'd like to say yes. I don't always get cars from Seat. I've not had too many. I've had the Arona and the Tarraco, haven't I?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'd like to say yes, but who knows? Who knows what the future will hold?
That'd actually be quite a good car to test.
I like the Leon. It's a smart car. not a smart car, you know what I mean. Your Ford Focus review helped me decide getting one. See what I said earlier? No regrets, best handling, affordable car I've ever driven. So thank you, sir. Anthony Hedge, thank you for watching my review. I'm glad that you've been able to buy a car that you're happy with.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
You wasn't paying attention. How dare you?
I was looking after the cats.
Ford Focus.
Oh, nice.
So Anthony, which one did you go for? Out of interest.
I was literally going to ask.
And then the aroused eunuch has commented, if this Rocco sells, a Puma might sell as well. Also, development costs would be pretty low. Yeah, I like this Rocco, but you may not have heard, Volkswagen have announced it will stop selling it, which doesn't really surprise me because how often do you see a Scirocco on the road? It's not often, is it?
I used to really love the Scirocco.
I used to
really like them.
A long time ago, I actually test drove one as a replacement for a Renault Clio I had. I liked it. I must admit, it was firmer than I was expecting. And it's not the most practical car. You know, if you have people in the back, well, even if you don't have people in the back, rear visibility isn't that good. From what I can remember, the boot had quite a high load lip, so not the most practical car. So I think most people just go, well, I'll buy a Golf. It's more practical. This
Rocco. Have a Scirocco, get the original.
Well, like the 80s and 90s.
Oh
one.
yes.
Mm.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Ray just looked at you to say what?
I didn't know that, but it doesn't surprise me. I've seen like 2 or 3 overall. Small town though. Yeah, it's not often you see a Scirocco. Didn't you do a video about your own Seat Ibiza as well a while ago? I did, yes. I no longer own that car. My dad does. So I sold it to him back in October because I wasn't really using it. And to be honest, my dad had been using it for quite some time. So to be honest, he doesn't really need a car. But you know, he wanted to buy it off me, and I thought, well, at least if I sell it to my dad, you know, I know where the car's going. I know it will be looked after, although he rarely cleans it, but never mind. So yeah, so he now owns it. I actually saw the car 2 days ago because I went up to see my dad for Boxing Day. So yeah, it's good to keep the car in the family for sure. So yeah, I've done 1 or 2 videos with my old Ibiza, I should say. I have filmed with the new Seat Ibiza, but I've not had one for a week. But the new Ibiza is a cracking car. Yeah, I think it looks good. It's got a good amount of tech. It drives well. Just a shame that as it stands, there won't be a Cupra version. Obviously, it's not going to be. Well, there may be a Cupra version, but as it stands, I don't think one that has formally been announced. But
perhaps he's not happy about that.
If you think about it, the Skoda don't make the Fabia VRS anymore.
True.
Is the Polo GTI still made? I can't think. I'm not too sure. But yeah, for whatever reason, the Volkswagen Automotive Group seems to be streamlining its fast super mini models. I'm not too sure why. I'm not too sure if they're trying to keep costs down. But Anthony's responded, 1 litre ST line. Yeah, the ST line's a good car actually. And one thing that really surprised me about the ST line was how comfortable it was. You know, I found the ride to be really compliant. And yeah, you know, I think you could almost drive that Focus, and you know, if someone said to you, "Oh, you're driving a standard Focus," you wouldn't really think twice. But let's not say that goes all floppy in the corners, because it doesn't, because you know it still handles well. So yeah, I like the ST line. I thought it's a good car.
Did you say what colour?
No, it's not. Yeah, it's not said which colour. So impressed with the power from such a small engine, especially after having a Civic 1.6 diesel. The fuel economy is okay if you drive it gently, which I find it hard to do. Well, I'm not surprised, because it is a fun car to rag around. A quick browse through the Volkswagen website showed me that the Polo GTI is still a thing. Yeah, I thought it might have been the case, but I wasn't too sure, because I think there was silver is the Focus.
Nice.
So there was a time when I think Volkswagen were looking to ditch the Polo GTI, but it's kept it on. But yeah, that means it's now the only Volkswagen Automotive Group small hot hatch you can get. Because, like I said, the Fabia VRS has been dead. I think it's been dead for a long time, actually. Come to think of it, you can't get the Ibiza Cupra anymore. So if you want a small hot Volkswagen, well, Volkswagen Automotive Group car, it has to be the Polo GTI. But from what I can remember, well, unless something's changed, you can only have it as a DSG. Not for me, thank you very much. Don't get me wrong, DSG, it's easy to drive, easier to live with, and it's faster, but it's a small hot hatch. It needs to be involving. It needs to have a manual gearbox. So for that reason alone, I wouldn't have one. Sorry, Volkswagen. But yeah, for me, a small hot hatch simply has to have a manual gearbox. That's just my opinion, of course. See, this is nice, isn't it? I've actually had more questions in this live Q&A, but because I've been talking so much, I've not been able to drink my beer. It's starting to go warm. There's nothing quite like a manual gearbox. No, there really isn't. I was speaking to one of my colleagues at work, and we were discussing
cars.
Well, yeah, obviously. I think it was an S3. I think it was an Audi S3, or it might have been an RS3. But we were talking about some kind of automatic hot hatch, and I said, no, it has to be a manual gearbox. And he's like, no, got to be the DSG all the way. I'm like, no, hot hatch, manual.
You sure he should be working in a garage with that comment? The
thing is, I get, if it was an RS3 we were talking about, then I get it. And something like an A45 AMG or an RS3 that's pushing out nigh on 400 horsepower. Well, the new ones are pushing out 400 horsepower. Then I get it. A DSG makes sense, but something with less power, manual gearbox. Have you ever tested a car with adaptive dampers? And if so, how much of a difference do all those driving modes have? Is it really noticeable? I've driven a few. I think it depends on the car, but yeah, you do notice a difference for sure. I think the last car I drove that had adaptive suspension would have been the Focus ST diesel, and you definitely noticed a difference. So yeah, I'd say in some cars it's more noticeable than others, but you do notice a difference. It's not just some gimmick. Pocket Rockets. Evening. Nice for you to turn up. Evening, pal. What's been your top 5 highlights of the year? Ooh.
There's one that you better pick. Otherwise, me and him will be having words with you.
Right. Okay. So I suppose I have to kick things off with Pocket Rockets and Patsy, my wife, surprising me with a JDM Civic Type R. In fact, have I still it on? There we are.
He's not stripping. Don't worry.
Got my t-shirt on. So back in October, I was surprised with a JDM Civic Type R, but not any JDM Civic Type R, a facelifted version. Which, if you're in the know, you'll know that
rarer than rocking horse poo.
Yes, exactly. They are very very hard to come by. So yeah, that's number one. Duncan Lawton has said camper fan. Actually, I'm going to put it in. The camper fan experience was fantastic. The weather was crap, but it didn't detract from the experience. It was fantastic, and we look forward to doing it again some point next year. Pardon me. For me, Duncan Lawton, no talk. What you talk about the Type R? See that bothers me when people say that the EP3 or indeed any Civic Type R has got no torque, and outside of VTEC they're gutless. They really aren't. Even if you don't have a Civic Type R in VTEC, they still pull quite well. I know on paper the torque looks to be rubbish, but trust me, when you're driving it, it actually feels pretty strong. Anyway, I digress. Again, the weather was crap, but it has to be when I was invited to Portugal by Nissan. Okay, granted, it was a Nissan Micra, so not anything overly exciting, but it was a nice little adventure. So and that's my first ever international launch, and might be my only one for quite some time, because in my new job I get less annual leave. So for me to go out to these events that I'm invited to, yeah, it's going to be more difficult. So I've got less holidays to play about with. The Aroused Eunuch says, I have to go now. Sorry, I really enjoyed this Q&A. I'm looking forward to future ones. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year for everyone. Bye. Thank you for joining me, although you've probably already gone, but thank you for spending your time with me this evening. It's very nice of you. Right, so back to the top 5 highlights. God, so much has happened this year. I'd say attending a launch with Suzuki, again, not a particularly exciting car. I drove the newish Suzuki Swift 4x4 in the New Forest. I went on a speedboat with Suzuki engines. That was pretty epic as well. So that was really good. And that leaves number 5. Number five. What have I done this year? I can't even remember. This year's been a blur. I need to think of what number 5.
What about the Porsche experience?
That was good, but enough to go in my top 5.
Okay.
Don't think so. Don't know. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to think about number 5. I'll have to come back to you.
About driving the Bentley Continental GT.
It was good, but I wouldn't say it was in my top 5. So I only spent about 45 minutes with it. So, yeah, I don't know.
I can't help.
Yeah, Pocket Rockets co-hosting of the world's best car chatting podcast, Car Chatters. What, spending time with you? Top 5 highlights. Do me a favour. I'm just kidding, mate. Just kidding. Don't take any offence. The Aroused Eunuch has come back. It's like a boomerang. Yeah, so I went to Portugal to go to a launch for the kind of updated Nissan Micra, and the weather was torrential. You think of Portugal, nice Mediterranean sunshine. No, not quite. We had downpours. Yeah, I remember there's this great moment where I was with a fellow YouTuber, Auto Bears, and I was wearing like blue slip-on shoes. They were kind of like a fake suede sort of thing. And I remember being stood on the side of the road. My feet were drenched because I was standing in the grass just filming Dave from Auto Bears going by as I was getting the passing shots. Just there with my umbrella like that, with my DSLR camera trying to keep it steady. Yeah, that was that was quite surreal actually. But yeah, right. Chris, I will come back to you in regards to my number 5. I don't know. It's difficult. I've done so much.
What have you said so far? Getting Olaf.
Olaf.
Minty.
Yep.
Micra launch.
Yep. Suzuki launch.
Let me look back through your videos.
I feel like there's something glaringly obvious that I'm missing here.
Doing the Patsy Rates Cars videos.
Yeah, that's been great fun.
A cushion at your head if you're not careful.
Anthony said, I get the feeling that the tech/gadgets in cars seems to be an important factor in deciding what car to get now. Might be an idea for a series. I do sort of do that. I do infotainment reviews now and then, but I don't do them all the time because sometimes I review a car that's got an infotainment system I've already reviewed. So it's just it's simply stomping old ground. It's just not worth it. But yeah, I'd say tech is an important part of cars nowadays, and I'm quite a techie person. Even though, as I said in my last live Q&A, technology does have it's got a great way of just annoying me and they're just not working on me. And what's funny, when I said that on my last live Q&A, about a minute later it stopped working. So technology has got a way of effing me over. Oh, Patsy's got her hand up. What is it?
What about the supercharged squirrel, the 620S?
That was good, but
okay,
I'll have to give my top 5. Oh, I don't know. It was quite an event.
Well, all the others are just reviews at the moment.
I must admit, I did enjoy that. Anyway, let's see. I was a million miles away then. What do you think of Adam C videos? Haha, be honest. I've not really watched that many of his videos, but I do like his videos. But I think they're
Different topic and genre to what.
yeah. It's you can't really compare them to anything. What?
595 and a 595.
Yes, of course. I told you I was missing something glaringly obvious. Of course, how could I forget? 595 in a 595. So I will get onto that in a few moments. But yeah, Adam C.
Sorry, just like running.
But Adam C. videos, he makes some good videos, and he's built up a strong audience and a strong channel. So fair play to him. I do enjoy them. I like seeing the variety of cars on his channel and in his videos. You get some tasty cars. You get some not so tasty driving. Some people think they're Ken Block when they're more like Ken Dodd. But obviously, Adam he just captures what he sees. So it does make me laugh when you have people that got these really high performance cars, and sometimes you think you don't really know how to drive that. But that sounds really, really negative. So but no, you do see some great cars on them, and obviously, some of them do get driven properly, but not quite legally. Oh, moving on. Where was I? Oh yes, 595 in a 595. So towards the start of this year, it's actually last year I came up with this crazy idea that I would drive a long distance for charity. I was thinking about a few ideas, and I was actually speaking to a Bath at the time. I was at an event, and I was just sat there talking to the press officer at a Bath, and I said to him, "I've got an idea." I said, "This is going to sound mad, but how about driving 595 miles in one day in a Bath 595?" And that's how 595 in a 595 was created. The reason for me doing this was, sadly, we lost Patsy's father to cancer last year. And the hospice that looked after him, they did such a great job that I really wanted to give something back. So yeah, I had this crazy idea of driving 595 miles in one day. So I started. Well, I say Patsy was with me, and so was Pocket Rockets and his lovely fiance Becca. They was helping. So very grateful to have their support. So they drove all the way to Scotland with us from Essex, and then drove all the way back down to support us. So fair play. So yeah, big respect. But yeah, so we started in Elgin, Scotland, and drove 595 miles. Well, technically it was 610 because we had to take a few diversions because of road closures. But all the way to the hospice, St Christopher's Hospice in South London. And that was just a great occasion. And, don't get me wrong, it was a very long day. We got to the hospice, was it midnight or something stupid like that?
Yeah, midnight, 1:45.
Yeah, we got there stupidly late. The original idea was we'd get there whilst they were still open, and which in hindsight was just pure lunacy because that was never going to happen. But yeah, those are my top 5 highlights, I'd say. Yeah, it's been a good year. A year of variety as well, which I quite like.
I have a question for you.
Go on.
What's your favourite Patsy Rates Cars videos we've done?
Don't know.
Well, that's nice, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm trying to, because it's difficult to think because not every car I've reviewed, you've reviewed, if that makes sense. So it's difficult to remember which ones you've done with me or not. So sorry, my love, I can't answer that right now. I've started watching Autovlog channel recently. What do you think of his channel? Quite like the vlog style of his videos, especially the mods. I know of his channel, but I don't think I've ever watched any of his content. That's annoying because I love watching what other YouTubers do, but I don't really have a lot of time to do it. I go back to earlier speaking like Calvin's Car Diary. I really like his content, but I don't have a lot of time to watch it. Fellow YouTuber Pocket Rockets, he's recently put out 2 videos. I'm sorry, Chris, I've not watched them yet because I've not had the time. So I love watching other YouTubers, but I don't always have the time to do it, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. So I can't really pass any comments on that. So I've not watched any of his stuff, but I do know of him. I think I can actually picture his brand logo in my head, but no, I've never watched him. There's plenty of car YouTubers that I've not watched. Where are you off to?
Sorting food out because my belly's growling.
Fair enough. Pocket Rockets left the chat. Oh, no. No great loss there. Just kidding, mate. Just kidding. I look forward to our next Car Chatters episode, actually. I would have liked to have done one before Christmas, but I must admit, the last few weeks have taken a toll on me. And I was like, you know what? I just want to do as little as I can. And obviously, where I live now, it's a bit of a drive up to you. So, yeah. But I do look forward to doing the next one. And looking forward to when we can get some more guests on as well, because getting guests onto the show has been quite tricky, hasn't it? And that goes back to my comment earlier about collaborations. That is sometimes it can be quite difficult chasing after people to try and get them to work with you. It's not because it's not a case of that they don't want to work with you. It's just all about setting up dates, and that can be quite tricky. Thoughts on the future of motoring with the 208e and electric Corsa? Yeah, those are quite back on electric cars. I'm just kidding. Although I don't like to talk too much about electric cars, because I must admit, I don't want to say it gets boring, but I don't know, it's just not quite the same as talking about proper cars. I'm going to be shot down for that, aren't I?
You back on the topic of electric?
Yeah, back onto the topic of electric cars. Yeah, bold moves by both manufacturers. I look forward to hopefully driving both. Yeah, I think that's really put a strong message out, because they are both mainstream brands. Now, I know you've got cars such as the Renault Zoe and the Nissan Leaf, but I would anticipate that the Corsa E and the electric. No, it's called it's called e-Corsa, isn't it? Anyway, the electric Corsa and the 208e, I anticipate they will have a cheaper starting price compared to a Renault Zoe. Therefore, they are more of a mainstream option for car buyers. I know MG have kind of beaten both manufacturers to that point with the ZS EV, but of course that's an SUV. But my point is that MG has made a car. By the way, I do have a MG ZS EV review coming soon-ish. What MG has done is made an electric car that's actually accessible for families. It's a cheap asking price. What's it about? Don't off the top of my head, about £26,000, which may not sound that cheap, but when you think about the amount of car you're getting for your money, that is really good value. Don't get me wrong, it's not the perfect car, and the range isn't amazing, but for a family that wants to take its first step into electric motoring, whether it be as a second family car or the main family car, I think it is a very attractive option. And you do have a 7-year warranty as well. No, it's 7-year warranty, not 8. Sheldon, sounded really what's the word? Sounded like I was having a dig. I wasn't. It came across really rude. No, it's a 7-year warranty, not an 8-year warranty. I'm yet to know of any car manufacturer that does an 8-year warranty. But one day there will be one car manufacturer that does 8-year warranties. But no, the MGs, like Kias, they are 7-year warranties. So again, good peace of mind, because I think some people are quite apprehensive of the reliability of MGs. So obviously that gives you good peace of mind. I think the battery in the ZS EV, I think that's got its own warranty, which is 3 or 5 years, I believe. Let's have a quick look. Get an M140i before it's too late. What do you mean, buy one or review one? I don't. Either way, I have tried to get cars from BMW, but they've got very high standards and they're very particular about what they want a YouTuber to have. So the kind of numbers they wanted from me were astronomical, and I don't quite understand it, because I don't want to get too political here, but they've given cars to other YouTubers which aren't hitting the same amount of numbers as BMW wanted from me. But anyway, that's a different story altogether. And I don't really want to get too bogged down in the politics of the kind of the car game, so to speak, if that's what you want to call it. Chris has responded, yes, mate, 2 new guests for 2020, plus need to chase some others still. It would be great to get people's ideas on who they would like to see on the podcast. Yeah, so guys, so if you don't know about Car Chatters, guys, what have you been doing? So I co-host a podcast with Pocket Rockets, and it's called Car Chatters. And as the name would suggest, we chat about cars. We often have a guest on. So, Chris, who's the last guest we had on? Was it JB CTR?
What about Gary? Gary was after JB CTR.
Was he? Are you sure?
No.
But yeah.
I'm not being much help. Sorry.
So we both really enjoy filming it because it's not scripted in any shape or form. We just mostly chat bollocks for an hour. But it's nice and organic. It's got a nice flow to it, and we both enjoy doing it. But like Chris has said, sometimes getting guests for it is difficult. We have to hunt them down like prey. JB CTR. We had peak performance, car focused. Sham Savan says hi. That's that one covered. I do look forward to doing more in the future. But if there's any particular guests that you would like to see on, do let me know, or do let Chris know. If you don't follow Chris on social media, what are you playing at? You should be. He's not quite as active as I am, but like me, he's really busy. Probably busier than I am, to be honest. So yeah, do check out his content. He's recently put up 2 new videos as well. One with a Ford Fiesta ST line, and one comparing his Civic to my Civic. So be sure to check it out. I say that I've not watched it myself. Sorry, Chris. Looking forward to doing more Car Chatters next year. Yeah, just need to get the guests on, really. Yeah, I'll
tell you who I'd like to see.
Go on.
Calvin.
Well, we have approached Calvin, but
he's very busy.
It's just difficult to pin him down, both metaphorically and I'd say physically. He's a big lad. I'd love to get him on because, as I've said, I'm quite a big fan of his channel. How are you? I'm good, thank you. How are you? I hope you had a lovely Christmas. Hope you're looking forward to New Year. I'd like to get him on. There's quite a few people I'd like to get on, but it's just a case of, can we get them on, if that makes sense? Just getting diaries to match up is just difficult. And we film our podcasts at the weekend, and sometimes the people we want to get on, they're only available during the week, which doesn't really work for both Chris and I. So problem, like I said, it's not always the easiest thing to set up. But I've got a few ideas for 2020. Whether I'm going to be able to execute them or not is a different matter. But I think you need to have, I think it's better to aim higher than what you can. And I think it's good to have high expectations as opposed to low expectations. So I do have a few ideas in my head, but like I say, whether I can actually do them or not is another matter. What is your dream car? That is the burning question. The thing is, it's a really difficult question to answer because it's a case of what type of car would I want to go for? Because I love hot hatches, but for me to say a hot hatch is my dream car, I don't know. Some people may think, "Oh, why not pick a supercar or something?"
You just answered your own question. It's not a hot hatch. What is your dream car?
It would be a hot hatch.
Really?
Why wouldn't it be? Why not? The thing is, supercars are great, but imagine living with one. Every time you park it up, you're...
So what is your dream hot hatch? You only pick one. I think I know what you'd pick.
What?
Renault 5 GT Turbo.
It's difficult. I've never driven one. I think sometimes you need to have driven your dream car, or at least sat in it to get an idea. Because you might have a dream car, you might get it and think it's rubbish. It's like it can be sometimes like meeting your heroes. You think you're going to be a great person, and you meet them, and they're complete expletive. So I don't know. It's a genuinely really difficult question to answer. It really is. So I'm gonna be a cop out, and I'm gonna avoid the question. Hello, Aaron. Well, hi, Aaron. Fiesta ST or Focus ST for daily drive?
Fiesta ST.
The Focus ST would be better to live with day to day, but I'd rather have the. What would I rather have?
What was the question again?
Fiesta ST or Focus ST for daily drive? The Fiesta would be more fun, but the Focus is more practical.
I think it depends on the kind of person and what is going on in their life. Because if they've got a family, or if they've got, say, kids, or if they're doing, should we say, large shop school runs and so on, if you need a bigger car, of course you'd pick the Focus.
The question is, did I have more fun in the Fiesta ST or the Focus ST?
Fiesta.
I'd say the Fiesta. Yep, Fiesta ST. There's my final answer.
I said that straight away, but you were fiddle fartassing about.
Got any press cars lined up for 2020 yet? Yes, I do. I've got the Kia Exceed. Got the Audi S4 Avant.
Shall I have a look at my...
I've got the Fiat 500 Rockstar.
Sorry, that's a funny name. Let's see what else you've got. I think that's it, isn't it?
I'm sure I've got something else.
Right, let me have a quick look.
I don't know what else I have.
Yeah, so middle of January, you've got the Kia Exceed.
Yeah.
Then you have Audi S4.
I've got the Honda HR-V Sports, haven't I? So I think I've got 4 cars lined up at the moment.
500 Rockstar. Stupid name. Honda HR-V Sport.
And that's it, I think.
Let's have a look.
If you're having to scroll that much on your phone, there's probably nothing else. Yeah. Have you hauled off a Hyundai Getz? Do you mean if I heard of one? Yeah, they're the small kind of hatchback things. Yeah. I'm not going to say anything more than that in case you own one. I don't want to offend you. Yeah. I've heard of one, yes.
They are cute and petite.
A BMW 335D versus S4 Avant is a video to be done for sure.
You need to find someone with a 335D though.
Chris has one, that's why he's asking.
What? You didn't tell me who said it.
That would be quite a good video, actually.
You didn't tell me who said it, so that's your fault.
That would be a good video. Yeah, we'll have to try and set that one up. We'll have to try and think of some challenges. It needs to be something quite entertaining, I think.
Drag race.
Yeah, drag race.
Or find someone that you can do it though.
Practical. Exactly. That goes back to my point earlier. Sometimes I have these ideas, but for example, I'd love to find somewhere where I can do like drag races or timed drag races, but it's difficult, to find somewhere. I do know of somewhere, but it's miles away, and they charge quite a lot of money. It's actually an airfield that Car Focus used for one of his Focus reviews, and I think when he did it, he split the cost with 9 other people. I think there was 10 of them, and it worked out to be good value. Whereas for me, if I wanted just to hire it by myself, it's just stupid money. Will you review the new Peugeot 208 next year? I'd like to think so. Yeah, I do have a good working relationship with the PSA group. As you're speaking of Peugeot, there will be a review of the Peugeot Rifter hitting your screens in the next week or so. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I do anticipate I will drive the new Peugeot 208 at some point. So yeah, I think I can confidently say yes to that. Do you like the Nissan Micra? You know what? Joking aside, I do like the new Nissan Micra. I think it's the first Nissan Micra that's actually cool, and it's the first Nissan Micra I'd actually want to buy. However, I do think for what it is quite pricey. Some of the trim levels, particularly the what's the one the Nissan Micra? Oh, what's the sporty one called? N Sport. No, I just made that up. Oh, what's it called? Can you quickly Google it?
The time is about to go off.
I should know because I reviewed it at the start of the year.
But do you need the trim levels?
No, just type in Nissan Micra Sport. So I don't think it's just called Nissan Micra Sport. I think it's called something else. The N Sport or the Sport line on the whatever it's called.
Yeah, N Sport.
Oh, there we go. Is it new? Is it New Year's yet? Yeah, the N Sport. That's a good car, but if you bear in mind, it's about it's the same sort of money as a Fiesta ST. I know which one I'd rather have. But the new Nissan Micra is a good car.
It looks a hell of a lot better.
Oh yeah, I just think it's a bit pricey, but that's merely my humble opinion. Oh, sorry, got a bit of an itchy beard. Need to have a shave. Look a bit trampy. Do you dislike the Toyota Prius? Well, as a keen petrol head, yes. To be fair, I say that I've never driven one, but do I really want to drive one? No, not particularly. It's a Prius. Yeah, it's a car that doesn't evoke a lot of soul or emotion, does it? So I do dislike the Toyota Prius, although you know the expression you shouldn't knock something until you've tried it. But do I want to really try a Prius? Not particularly. So yeah, I do dislike the Toyota Prius. I'm afraid. Any more questions, guys? I'm probably going to knock off about past. Actually, darling. Yeah. How long until dinner? 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Okay. Well, I'm going to stay on for about another 8 minutes because then my food will be ready. Oh, sorry. Pocket Rockets has sent me a WhatsApp message just about car chatters and a few other bits and bobs. Yeah, so I'm going to knock off soon. But no, guys, I'm genuinely touched about how much interaction I've had on this video. Just scrolling up through the comments, I've had a lot of comments and questions. So thank you for that, because I announced tonight's Q&A with quite short notice. So I thought I'd come on here and I'd just be wasting my time. I thought I'd come on and I'd have very little questions, comments, or interaction. So the fact I've had the response I have, new Top Gear Christmas special on at 8 p.m. There's a Top Gear Christmas special on today. How have the BBC kept that so quiet? I had no idea there was a Top Gear Christmas special. So Chris, thank you for that, because I had no idea. Madness, one of the biggest motoring shows on the earth, and I had no idea it was on tonight. Lunacy. And thank you for that. Do you like the Mercedes CLA? Never driven one, never sat in one, never really paid any attention to one, so can't really comment, to be honest. Anthony has responded. Look forward to watching your videos in 2020. Thanks so much. For everyone that's been watching, thank you so much for the support you've given Car Obsession. It genuinely, I'm not just saying this, it does get me through some tough times. Because like I said earlier, the last 3 months have been a little bit disheartening because for whatever reason, the channel has just kind of, I wouldn't say become stagnant, but yeah, it has kind of plateaued a bit. So I did feel a little bit discouraged. And I was having one of my phases. I think, should I continue this? Is it worth my time? But people like you, get me through. So no, I'm very grateful for that. Because without your support, there simply wouldn't be Car Obsession. Because if I didn't have people watching the videos, I wouldn't have the opportunity to go on some of my great adventures that I do, or drive the cars that I drive. So without your support, car obsession wouldn't really exist how it does. Dave Kirby, Aaron, I've got a 68 plate Astra 1.6 200. Have you tried the new Astra with the smaller 1.2 engines? Fantastic channel. Keep up the work. So keep up the good work in 2020. I'll be watching as always. Thank you very much, Dave. No, I haven't driven the 1.6 Astra. There was an event where they did have the updated Astra there, but I never got around to driving it. I do need to see if I can get one for a week, actually. But no, I've not driven that, so I'm afraid I can't answer your question. I'm really sorry, Dave. But who knows? Stay tuned. Next year, I may drive one. Let's see. Always hope yourself. So anyways, hope yourself and everyone watching had a mega Christmas, and wish you all a happy new year. Subscribe, it's good luck. Thank you, Chris. The aroused eunuch has come back again. Like I said, he's a boomerang. Plateaus are not your fault unless you decide to sharply reduce your content quality or something. Just focus on improving your comment. Viewers come and go. Yeah, very true. And when I moved to Worthing, so that's where I live now, there was a kind of not blind spot. There was a quiet point on the channel where not much was happening. So I was, I had a lot of stuff I had to get settled in here. I had to get settled in my new job. So there was a little period where not much was happening on the channel. But yeah, no, I've kind of picked things up again. So yeah, hopefully that helps to improve things. Do you like the Citroen C2 or not? Bit of a random question. Citroen C2, that's a bit of a throwback, isn't it? Again, I've never driven one, so I can't really comment. Original ideas is the key, I would say, for new videos. Keep a notepad by your bed. Some of the best ideas come from dreams. It's funny because Patsy and I were discussing this earlier. It's really difficult to come up with new ideas because there's a good chance that someone else has already done them. But yeah, I'm trying to think outside the box as much as I can. I'm starting to look at what cars I have next year, and thinking, okay, what can I do with them that might not necessarily have been done with them before. So I do want to try and do something different. But yeah, it's so difficult to think of things that haven't been done. There's so many automotive YouTubers out there. It's so saturated, so competitive. So trying to do anything original is difficult. Impossible? No, but difficult. I'm faster than fast. I'm lightning. I'm sure you are. But yeah, so guys, if you have any more questions, fire them in now, because I'm starting to kind of wind down, because I'll be going shortly. So I'm going to have some food. I'm quite hungry. And then I'm going to tune in for the Top Gear special, which I only found out about a few moments ago. So hopefully it'll be a good one. Let's see. But yeah, as an occasional viewer myself, I understand why people come and go. Sometimes it's because I don't have the time nor the mood to watch only the same channel. Yeah, regardless of channel quality. Yeah, that's very true. Sometimes I go through phases where I'll watch, when I do have time to watch other YouTubers, I will watch one YouTuber, then I kind of go away from them for a bit, go on to another one. I'd say the only channels I watch religiously would be Car Throttle and seen through glass. Those I'd say the two YouTubers that I always try and keep on up to date with, and of course Pocket Rockets. Whenever he puts out a new video, I always try and watch that as well. So yeah, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Do you like the Rolls Royce Phantom? It's not really my kind of car, to be honest. I can only dream of driving that car, or indeed owning one, and it's just not my kind of car. It's the sort of car you get driven in as opposed to drive yourself. And I like cars that way. I like to be in the driver's seat, quite literally, metaphorically and literally. So the idea of being chauffeured around in a Phantom. Yeah, don't get me wrong. That would be very luxurious, but I'd want to be the one driving. So it's not really my kind of car. If I'm going to be honest, I've got nothing against it. It's just not my cup of tea. But, no, don't get me wrong. If I was offered a ride in one, I wouldn't say no. But sorry, my phone's gone off quite a few times. Just checking my notifications. Not much going on. But yeah, it's just not my kind of car, to be honest. But I imagine there are some people that simply love the Rolls-Royce Phantom, and it's really their sort of thing. Whereas for me, it isn't. Maybe I'm just don't know. I'm just a simple man from South London. Yeah. Yeah, I can only dream of such things like that, to be honest. But yes, yeah, I look forward to watching the Top Gear special. Actually, I must admit, when Paddy McGuinness and Freddie Flintoff were first announced, I thought, BBC, what on God's green earth are you doing? You've clearly lost your minds up there. But you know what? I can't believe I'm saying this, but it has worked. Don't get me wrong; they are not car journalists. Let me get that out of the way right now. Top Gear isn't the car show it used to be. I really liked when it was Matt LeBlanc, Chris Harris, and Rory Reid, because you had a good mix of banter, entertainment, but there was still something there for car nerds. Whereas the new Top Gear, the BBC has made no. They've made no secret of stating that the new format, Flintoff, McGuinness, and Harris, it is more for an entertainment show. But you know what? Although the formula on paper looks pretty crap, it does work. Don't get me wrong. It will never compare to the Clarkson, Hammond, and May era of Top Gear. Nothing will. Let's get that straight. But I think it's worked better than I, and indeed many people, would have expected. One thing that did disappoint me was just how short the series was. What was it, 5, 6 episodes? Pathetic. It needs to be longer. I really miss the days when Top Gear, they churn out a series of like 15 episodes or something. Now I know the BBC have got quite a tight budget, but it would be good just to see a proper long series, because I'll be honest, I was really getting into that series of Top Gear. I was like, yeah, tonight's the last show. Good night. It's like, what? You've barely got started. You haven't even hit Top Gear yet. You're in third. You're still working. You're working your way through the gearbox, and you just announced it's your last show for that series. Madness. It does annoy me. I do want BBC to go back to providing a long series of Top Gear, because I think that's what it deserves. But anyway, I could talk about Top Gear for a long time. So I really want to start a discussion about the Grand Tour special, Seaman. But I could speak about it for a long time. I'm trying to wind down here. What do you think of the new Yaris GR? I've not given it as much attention as I would have liked, but it does excite me, because it's not often Toyota put out a hot hatchback. It's very rare, in fact. Of course, you had hang on. When you say the Yaris GR, do you mean? I'm getting confused here. Do you mean the supercharged one, the GRMN, the special edition one, which is like £26,000? I actually drove that last year, and I really enjoyed it. Actually, I think if Toyota were to make it a cheaper car and put it into mass production, I actually think that would sell well, because it drove, really nicely. I think, dare I say that is the only true competitor to the Fiesta ST right now, because of course the Corsa VXR doesn't get made anymore. You have to make do with the Corsa GSI, which I think is a bit naff and overpriced. You don't have the Ibiza Cupra. You've got the Polo GTI, but I'd say it's more an upmarket hot hat super mini. You can't get the Fabia VRS. The 208 GTI, I think that's dead for the time being, because obviously the brand new 208 has come out. And well, for the time being, I don't think there's going to be a GTI version. So if you think about it, you got the Clio RS, but hasn't that been binned as well? But again, the Clio RS, it's automatic only. So if you think about it, the Fiesta ST right now doesn't really have a lot of rivals. But no, the Yaris GRMN, it's got a bit of a silly name, but I really enjoyed that. It was better than I was expecting, and yeah, fair play. Toyota made a good car. I'm just going to quickly check because just want to make sure we're talking about the same car. Ah, okay. So I'm just on Google now. Ah, okay. Are you talking about the newer one, the 4-wheel drive one? Yeah. So I've seen bits of this, but I've not actually looked into it properly. Oh, dinner's here. Dinner is served. Oh wow, looks nice. Oh, it's very tasty. I'll just read this last comment, or 2 more comments. I have a GR-MN, but I was talking about the new Yaris GR that has 3-cylinder turbo with 4-wheel drive and rumored 260 brake horsepower plus. Ah, okay, yeah, so the newer one. I've not really looked into it that much, if I'm going to be honest. And last but not least, Anthony Hedge. I'm off now to watch the darts. Hope you have a good New Year's. I'm also off to have some lovely home-cooked dinner. Thank you so much for joining me. To be honest, guys, you've surpassed my expectations of how tonight was going to go. I've had so many comments and questions. I'm going through them. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how tonight has gone. So thank you so much. I wish you all a happy New Year. So for my subscribers that are a bit newer, I do this live Q&A every Christmas. So please stay tuned for next year. I may also start doing a summer one as well. So as I said earlier, I do enjoy doing these live Q&As because they're good fun, and it's really good to get you guys involved. I do think it helps to bring you guys closer to the channel, and it gives better interaction. Like I say, it gets you guys involved. Anyway, I'm waffling, so I'll speak to you soon. Have a very happy New Year. Bye for now, guys.